Is Weyburn, Saskatchewan the best city in Canada? This week, we sit down with Winston Bailey, a former city councillor and realtor in Weyburn, and we go over all the reasons why Weyburn is a fantastic city. Hope you enjoy.
This is the Saskatchewan Real Estate Podcast, the show that highlights Saskatchewan real estate. Looking to buy your first house, your next investment property? Subscribe to never miss an episode. Here's your host, Ron Caroni.
Hello and welcome back to the Saskatchewan Real Estate Podcast. My name is Ron Caroni, your host, and here on the podcast, we love to touch on all things Saskatchewan real estate and especially highlighting some Saskatchewan communities. And today we are highlighting the wonderful community of Weyburn. And here to do that with me is Winston Bailey. Welcome to the program, Winston.
Well, thank you.
Appreciate
the opportunity.
Really happy to have you here. And I'm just going to give a brief overview that you provided, Winston. I think you're just the perfect person to talk about Weyburn here. You attended high school at a private institution in 1967. After several years, you and a friend founded a construction company in 1976. You then continued in the construction trade for nearly 3 decades before obtaining your real estate license in 2005. In 2011, you purchased the Remax brokerage and currently serve as the broker owner. You have served almost 10 years on the Weyburn City Council, including a by-election win in 2011 and 2 re-elections. You're happily married with 2 children and 7 grandchildren. Sounds like you have a full life and you're still wheeling and dealing, Winston. Congratulations.
Oh, thank you. I'm having fun. I'm getting to the age where most people have retired. I still want to come to work in the morning, and that's a good thing to have, I guess.
Good, man. Good for you. That's the ultimate sign of freedom, I think, is when you get to wake up and do what you'd like to do in the morning.
As long as it doesn't cut in too much into the golf games during the summer, we're good to go.
Priorities. Wonderful.
Yeah.
We're here to talk about the city of Weyburn, Winston, and it sounds like you do have a wonderful background there. Let's quickly start it off with an easy one. What's the size of Weyburn for anyone who's not familiar with the community? How many people live there?
Right now, we're sitting just a shade over 11,000 people, and that was 2022 numbers.
And is that a steadily growing number, Winston? Are we on the decline, or have we been sitting around 11,000 for a few years?
Well, we actually came up from, in that 2010 era to the boom that we've seen in Saskatchewan and in our region in particular. We sat at that 9,500 in there. So in the last 10, 12 years, we've come up, we had some tremendous years of growth, but we came up to that 11,000 area. We're still growing, but it's very minor steps, so, but still going positive. So that's a good thing.
Kind of leading into my next question then, are there reasons why people would be moving to Weyburn, and more specifically job opportunities? Are there opportunities for people to move to the community, and what are some of the big industries that occupy people?
Well, I refer to Weyburn as a farming community, which it is. It is the single largest inland grain delivery point in all of Canada.
Wow.
So we have 3 big elevators here, and being right on the Sioux line for freight reasons, the grain is a big part of it. But really what supplements the grain is the oil industry. And the Whitecap oil field here south of Weyburn, and that runs all the way in the Bakken field, if you're familiar with that, is really an asset to this community over and accenting the farming relationship and the farming community that we have.
That is a really important mixture there, because something like farming is a fairly stable industry. Year after year, farmers are going to put grain in the field, and then there's lots of business that goes around that. But also nice to have, I would say, maybe more of those high value jobs in the oil industry. Is that something that you would kind of agree with, Winston?
Oh, for sure. We have some well-established oil companies in Weyburn, not only like Whitecap and other major oil companies, but there's the spin-offs of the local businesses, the local trades for construction, oil field construction, and welders and trucking and all of the things and the aspects that need to be there to service that industry.
Now, as we've seen kind of a resurgence of the oil industry, especially over the last couple of years, have we seen that translate into higher real estate prices in Weyburn? Have you guys been affected by high interest rates at all? What can you give us on the insight as far as the real estate market right now in Weyburn, Winston?
The real estate, as all of Saskatchewan had the up from 2008 to 10 to 12, 14, and then we had the slide of depression a bit in 2015 started. But we've seen our real estate market coming back very gradually, but coming in a positive step. We have a lot less inventory right now in Weyburn, not only residential properties, but I look at our business development downtown, or business places downtown. They're full. Everything is full. There's not an empty building downtown right now. And we sold 2 or 3 of them in our office over the last year. And so that's a positive thing, which also relates to the housing market, I feel, and the rental market, which is always a part of the real estate world, both the residential, commercial, rental, condominiums. It's all a package, and I would be happy to say that we have seen all of that increase marginally over the last 2 years.
Wonderful. So I know people never like to crystal gaze too much, but would you say that it's probably a trend that real estate is probably going to remain fairly strong in Weyburn, at least over the next 6 months to a year? Do you have any idea on future projections of that, Winston?
Well, I'm very optimistic about it, because I don't, even with the higher interest rates, and been in meetings with different banks, and their forecasts from a year ago, or better than a year ago, was the increase in interest rates. They didn't quite get as high as what we maybe heard on the media all the time where we were going. We didn't, in fact, we're 2 or 3 points away from that. Talking with a bank representative here, it was about a week and a half ago, and their interest rates have already dropped 0.25%.
Right.
And that was just at the time the Bank of Canada increased last time, that 0.25% in late January, I believe it was. And that bank dropped 0.25%. So we're seeing mortgage rates come through our office right now in around that 5.25%, which in my world, that isn't a bad number. Did we think that we were going to stay at that 2 and 2.5% that we had for a couple of years? Totally unrealistic. It's not going to stay there. So can people have to budget maybe just a little longer, or savings and stuff, to qualify at that extra cost? But I'm positive in that sense that the real estate, once people get used to that new norm, if you want to call it that, we're going to continue to be active in our real estate world.
Wonderful. So someone is listening to this. We've talked about jobs. We've talked about the real estate, and they say, hey, Weyburn sounds like an excellent place where I'd like to check out or potentially move. And they have a young family, and they're wondering about different facilities and clubs that are available. Is Weyburn a fairly family-friendly city from that standpoint, Winston? And are there things for people to do there?
There's lots to do, and we have some exciting stuff happening in Weyburn. I always use the term when I have someone, and I have a family from Kelowna coming in tomorrow, actually.
Oh, cool.
I spend an hour and a half selling them the city. It's really easy to sell them a house in. So when you look at our facility that we have, let's start. We have had 3 older schools closed down in the last 4 years. We have a brand new K-6 school, legacy school. It's where the old junior high was. So that houses can house up to about 900 students. Wow. Brand new. Adjoining that, and I was part of council when this happened, we put a field house onto that school with a joint relationship with the school division, and one of the nicest field houses that you will ever encounter anywhere in the province, or may I even challenge it to be Western Canada. We have people coming in that just go, wow. The main field, soccer field area is what they call a half-field. So in relationship, how big that is for us that don't play soccer, you could put 2.5 ice surfaces on that soccer field.
You
That's the way
Canadianized it
feels.
for us there
I
by
did.
putting it in ice hockey surfaces.
Yeah. And then there's a small gymnasium. There's we took and put into that facility pottery, carving, arts people,
Oh, cool.
facilities. There's 4 simulators. There's a play structure that smaller kids can, it's like the McDonald's only on steroids, play structure. So that's full. They host birthday parties for kids there. It's very, very active. One point we had with that whole project between the school division and the city was $62 million. Not a small feat by any means. Proud to say that the city of Weyburn is $25 million for that part that we paid for. We paid cash, was in reserves. And we were planning on this coming. We didn't know when it come, but it happened to come a little sooner than we wanted to or expected it to. But it's just a tremendous facility. We hosted here 2 or 3 weeks ago 32 soccer teams for a small.
You're kidding me.
Tournament. Wow. Yeah. And so if you walked around that building, from people from outside our communities that hadn't been there, were just wow.
That's excellent.
So that's good. The other things, we have 2 ice surfaces in Weyburn. Of course, our beloved Weyburn Red Wings is full minor hockey program, both in boys and girls. We have an outdoor rink also that was part of this fieldhouse complex. So we can use the dressing rooms within the fieldhouse and go 10 steps outside to a brand new outdoor rink surfaces that is always got kids on it. We are getting a brand new hospital, spade in the ground this spring.
Good for you guys. That's amazing.
That's tentatively $100 million project that the government has said yes. We raised money for a number of years. We had to come up with $20 million in the community for our portion of this, and we did have a tax levy on every home for 6 years, and the city was responsible for $6 million. The community was responsible for the $14 million. We had that all within 5 years.
Good.
So, yeah.
Wonderful. Good.
So
that's amazing.
Facilities for a city our size, I'll compare it to anybody.
And it doesn't sound like these are aging facilities. What you're talking about is a new hospital, a new rec center, really modern, up-to-date facilities. And we'll kind of go this into the next question. We're talking about moving a family potentially to Weyburn. Someone's listening to this and they have an interest in coming out. Is Weyburn also a safe city? Is it a safe city to raise your kids? Is it a good place to live? What would you say on that, Winston?
Yeah, very much so. Nobody has a problem taking a walk anytime, day or night. I mean, the safety. We have crime, obviously. Every community has crime, but we have a city police force here that is very well known and very well respected. You're always going to see stuff happen, but as far as being safe, yeah, it's not a worrisome. People from out of our community came, well, is there a section of the city has its issues and better to live over in this area? No, there's no difference from South Hill, as we call it, to our other areas. There's no difference. Property values are really consistent through all of that. So no, there's not a big issue. I take people out showing them houses, and in 30 below, and right or wrong, I just leave my truck running, and they go, "You're not going to lock it?" No.
Right.
you know, and so that environment, and then the other thing is, you walk up to show a house, people obviously know they're coming, they've left, and they leave the door unlocked, you know, and so that tells you a little bit about the mentality of our citizens on that safety factor.
Right.
It's you know, I don't go away and leave my house unlocked, and I do take the keys out of my truck when I get home at night. But I mean, yeah, it's something that we're proud of, and it's just a friendly city.
Excellent. And we'll put the last one on Weyburn, and I'd like to keep it as something that if you could kind of share something about Weyburn that maybe even someone from Saskatchewan doesn't know, is there a hidden gem? Is there a good secret about Weyburn that people don't know who are from outside Weyburn that the people inside Weyburn know, Winston?
Well, when we talk about people coming, no matter what community you go to, there's affordability, there's jobs, and there is services. Okay, when you look at those three things, that's the inviting factor that can make a community grow. And our affordability for housing, we're lower than Regina, certainly lower than Saskatoon. So we're in that moderate range, and you know, we still sell $600,000 houses or better, but the average home, you know, probably is in that range right now. I think we're sitting around 280,000 average. So yeah, we sell a lot more lower end houses than we do 600,000 houses, but that's still a good affordable number. Job opportunities, it doesn't matter where you go right now. The oil field, construction company, of course, doctors and nurses, we're always in the need of them, healthcare workers in general. It just doesn't matter. Service industry. You know, we went through some times here in the last year or so where our local Tim Hortons and that had to shut down from 24-hour service because they didn't have the manpower. And you hate to see that in a community. Thank goodness that's come back. Another thing that is very attractive, we have a fairly new, like less than 10-year-old new community college program here. And you can take just about anything you want to take here relating to oil field training for your WMIS and all of those things, to nursing, to education. So let's not forget about our comprehensive high school, and let's not forget about our community college, which is a big part of our community.
Wow. Thank you for doing such a great job of explaining all of the wonderful things about Weyburn, Winston. I think a lot of people listen to this and they say, that is the type of community that I would love to be a part of. So I think you painted a very wonderful picture of the community. Yeah. And I'll throw this last question to you. I like to ask everyone who comes on the podcast this: if you could go back to a younger version of yourself, what advice would you give?
Don't be afraid of hard work. If nobody succeeds without hard work, no matter what industry, what field you're in, nobody does that. To come to Weyburn, yeah, be ready to be involved, because there are so many service clubs here. That the Young Fellows Club comes to mind, the Family Place, which is recognized by Saskatchewan government of the work that is being done with the Family Place, and that's just helping the less fortunate people, or helping single moms and single dads with kids, and they're progressing to where they have bought a bigger, larger building because to suit the needs. They look after, I shouldn't say look after, they work with the kids, but they also work with the parents. Okay, and they're helping moms and dads learn how to cook and how to clean and how to do things. So it's an education thing before these little ones get into our school systems. It's kindergarten. It's all up to that age. Just a tremendous asset. I'll brag on one more thing.
Go ahead.
Over the past number of years, Money Sense magazine, which is located in Eastern Canada, Weyburn has been in the top 5 and as high as number 2 of the best cities to live in Canada for the last 6 or 7 years. We've been there every year. And so it doesn't mean much, I guess, the categories when the people come or what they see. I know we would probably get a little higher ranking once our new hospital's in process, but that's something to brag about when you're being recognized across Canada over cost of living, safety, facilities, and everything. When you get that nod that you're in the top 5 of all of Canada, I like it.
Well, great job to you. Great job to the citizens, the city council, for making things like that happen. And that is quite the feather in your cap to have accomplished. If someone's listening to this, Winston, and they say, geez, Louise, like I got to get in touch and figure out more about Weyburn, or they're interested in making the move out that way, what's the best way for them to get in contact with you, or if they have any questions?
Well, I would love to answer any type of questions I can about our city, but you can call us at the RE/MAX office at 306-848-1000. Easy number to remember, 306-848-1000. Or you can Google us. You'll find everything on Google, right?
Awesome. Winston, thank you very much for your time and expertise on this topic. And I love hearing your passion and your commitment to the city of Weyburn. So thank you for all that you do.
Thank you very much. I appreciate this opportunity.
Thanks for checking out this episode of the Saskatchewan Real Estate Podcast. If you liked it, make sure to hit the like button. And if you enjoyed it and want to catch future episodes, make sure to hit the subscribe button. I'm Ron Caroni, your Saskatchewan mortgage professional. Until next time, bye for now.